Well, looking back, what is something you could take from this film? Each of you guys, something you could take from this experience that you could take to your next, maybe your next feature or next giant project, whatever it is. Something you learned that was either maybe good or maybe something to never do again.
I I learned well, I've told people that I did learn from watching all the people in the movie that did stunts. Like Michelle did a ton of stunts, and
Mm-hmm.
Matt and a couple other people had all the big fight scenes, whereas Mark really just got beat up a couple times and didn't do too much in terms of stunts. But watching all the people do um, the cool stunts in the movie and all the work that they put into it. That was one thing that I learned just from more of a overall filmmaking standpoint is how much work that stunt performers put into their whole craft, and it gave me a huge appreciation for what they do. And then also, I probably learned that I don't ever plan to do that because it looks like it looks like it would hurt too much, at least now. maybe like 10 years ago, I might have wanted to do it, but right now I'll leave it to the people that can do it professionally.
That's hilarious. I think for me personally, it was really about having that first experience under my belt and feeling like, oh, okay, I could do this. I'm up to the task for something of this magnitude and this kind of a challenge. It's always a little intimidating when you start with something, but this is a smaller project, so it felt like I guess a easier way to kind of ease into that, and just sort of trusting the process and trusting instincts. I think I used to deal a lot with performance anxiety. Actually, my whole life, I've always dealt with performance anxiety in everything that I've done, sports. Um, and so this really tested me in that regards. I really had to kind of set that fear aside and allow myself to do the work and just trust that it would come together. Um, and there were days where it kind of would creep in a little bit, but it also, it was interesting was watching someone like Mike Milligan, who just seemed like a loose screw that was just sort of flying around and just, having fun with it. And so it was nice to have him around because I really learned watching him, and how he was being, and that I kind of let loose a little as well and see like, okay, it's okay to play. This is what it's about. We're here to play. Um, so yeah, I think that's what I took from it.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to kind of agree with Michelle. It was very intimidating, getting this first film because again, I'm used to doing maybe like 10-minute films, short films, and getting something, not massive, but again, 100, not 100, an hour and 26 minutes or whatever. Yeah, it's very intimidating. You don't know exactly where to start. Again, I got a couple scenes before then, but it's yeah, it's intimidating, and but it's taught me to be creative, trust in myself. Um, uh, uh, Good things come when you take little risks and try something new with the music. Because again, I've never really written anything in this way. I would try, but I couldn't really ever get that. But when I was able to see the picture and actually write to an actual film, it was it was amazing. I absolutely loved it, and it just it brought out this creative side in me that I guess I didn't really know that I had, and yeah, so I want to thank the whole team for that and allowing me to uh, try new things.
When you
Nice.
asked that question, Chuck, I started writing down answers, and I think I had to stop writing because I could keep writing how much stuff I've learned.
Oh.
Like, I mean, it's insane. I mean, we're always learning, and there's so much to learn, like from everyone, and about yourself too. Like, one of the biggest things I learned was dealing with questions. Like, I didn't. I mean, I knew actors, producers, everyone would have questions, art department, but I had never really experienced like questions coming left, right, and center always, and for 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day or whatever. and it wasn't a problem. Like, that's just what filmmaking is. It's fun. It's problem solving and stuff like that. So learning how to deal with those questions and go, okay, give me a minute on that one. Okay, I can answer this one. Okay, now I'll go back to that question. Which kind of leads into like better communicating. I think communication is the biggest tool a director has. Almost anyone on set has, and I think a lot of directors don't know how to use that tool. So it's learning how to better communicate with actors and producers and art department and everyone. Going from there, learn about the distribution side of things after the fact of making the movie, because I'm a producer on it as well, because I put money into it. How do we get it distributed? How do you work with distributors? How do you like find the right distributors and see what the red flags are and stuff? There's so much stuff to learn, and I don't know. Every day was another learning experience. So
Nice. What, real quick, what were some of those red flags that maybe did you run into some people that you were like, this
well, I
this
mean,
sounds a
like
little bit too
we
good to be
go.
true.
There'd be one offer that you'd get, and you'd go, well, that kind of sucks, but the name is kind of good. Do we go with it? And then you talk with the director that has worked with them, and they'd be like, well, they never communicate with us. Anytime we send them an email, it takes them 2 weeks or something like that. So you go, well,
Oh,
maybe I don't want to talk to them. Things like that.
makes sense. Okay, cool.